in the sand. I think I got some wanderlust, but I don't give a damn. Touching down on the asphalt.
7-Footers gang, we're back again.
What is
They're
good?
getting used to the consistency again.
They
Jarod.
are. You know, I always love that intro music because it makes me feel so calm and relaxed. Like, right? Like, I actually want to put my toes in the sand right now. And I wish I was on the beach.
Yes, and by the way, our intro music again, remind everybody.
Yes, it is If the Shoe Fits Collective out of Long Island, a group of well-to-do and well-together young men that really enjoy themselves some of that hippity hop music these children listen to.
Speaking of some great men, we are joined by two of our favorite guys.
We are.
Our podcast friends from the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast, Dexter Henry and Bryan Fonseca.
Yep. What's up, guys?
The beach is so overrated, by the way.
Okay,
That's
here
just
we
my-
go.
just my opinion.
Yo.
Just me.
See, yo,
Look, man.
You see how he comes in and starts
He's
with his
already
nonsense
at
the
it.
minute he comes in?
So now you're angry against the beach?
Nah, I
Exactly.
just don't care for the beach.
'Cause what-
this,
okay,
That's like saying you don't like puppies.
What is the best
I don't
beach?
I don't like puppies.
Oh my
what
God,
is-
No, I'm
Dexter.
joking.
What is the best beach you've ever been to in your life?
I don't know.
You see, there you go. That's done.
No. Here's the
I'm done.
thing. Here, let me say what I'll say to
Oh,
Bryan.
my God.
I think the beach is overrated.
Why?
For many places in the United States.
Okay.
Yes.
That I
is-
can understand.
But I'm coming from a Caribbean
Yes,
island.
yes.
I feel very differently. So
Right.
I go to beaches here, especially like in New York.
Right,
I'm
you're like,
"Nah."
whatever.
Yes, whatever.
But if you go to like Hawaii or you go to like the Caribbean or you're like,
Yeah.
all right.
But even I can enjoy the beach down in Miami. Who isn't enjoying the beach in Miami?
I understand
Well,
that.
that's
Like,
okay, yeah.
Drake isn't going to go to record an album in Ocean City, Maryland. He's going to go
No.
to, the islands. I
Yeah,
get
and
that.
no-
Well,
Okay.
he probably should go to Ocean City, Maryland, and lock in.
That's not where you go to lock in.
Wow.
Definitely
You haven't been to
There's
Ocean
no-
City, Maryland.
You want a different kind of album out of him.
Yeah, definitely not Ocean City, Maryland.
No.
Dang.
No. Trust me, you don't go there to lock in.
Okay.
Not Drake.
Definitely not.
No.
Drake.
All right, boys. I am going to lock in right now on a
We
serious topic that we need to chat about because we have a lot of stuff to get to
Our
today.
Eastern Conference preview is
Exactly.
today. Team by team.
Exactly. Team by team. Last week we did the Western Conference with our good friend
Jonathan Gomez,
Yes.
Yep.
And now we're going to break down the West, but
The East.
we have to talk, or the East, jeez. But we have to talk about a serious issue, which I'm not laughing about right now. Right, boys? Let's get
Your
serious.
voice got real serious.
Yeah, see, I have like a good radio voice.
Yeah, I'm almost scared.
She brought it down.
That's how I get you guys in line, okay?
Ooh.
Now, let's
That'll work for
analyze.
Bryan.
Let's analyze the fallout a little bit
what?
here between the NBA and China after Daryl Morey's controversial tweet. Okay, let me set it up for you guys, and I want to hear your opinions on this because it's very serious. It was on CNN all day today, which I was watching. You don't see that a lot.
And it was on South Park.
Yes, it was on South Park. I didn't catch that one.
I
Thanks,
watched
Brian.
I watched that episode.
Did you?
Right before we started.
That's how Brian gets his geopolitical news. He watches South
Hey,
Park.
however you get
Hey.
it.
That's not even true.
To each his own, man.
That's the first time I watched South Park in a minute.
To each his own.
For some
Now
reason, I
let's
don't believe that.
let's set this up here, okay?
Exactly.
Now, Daryl Morey set off a lot of fireworks with his tweet last Friday. He tweets, "Fight for freedom, stand with Hong Kong." The tweet, which he later deleted, included an image of a logo associated with the protests in Hong Kong. Within minutes after that, Rockets owner Tillman Fertitta, he rebuked it and basically said, trying to separate the Rockets from the situation and said, listen, Daryl Morey does not speak for the Houston Rockets. We're not a political organization. From there, sparks flew. Now we have Adam Silver infiltrating and trying to put out some fires. He's there now. We have games canceled this week between the Nets and the Lakers. Or not canceled, I'm sorry. They're
being
not
broadcast.
being
Yep.
broadcast, yes.
Might as well be
We're
canceled.
fearing cancellation, I should say. So now with everything, we have basically, China and the NBA going at it. The NBA's, we're already seeing headlines where the NBA is taking hits financially already. These are huge deals that are being just demolished, I should say. So give me your thoughts a little bit here. And we could talk about Adam's statement first or after that. But what about what Daryl Morey said?
What Daryl Morey said, obviously, he is standing with a nation that is fighting for democracy right now. I support that
Okay.
completely.
Yeah.
As I think most people in this country are going to as well. I think it's been a tough situation in what's been going on in Hong Kong, but I support the people fighting for democracy. I always will fight for that, freedom of speech, that kind of thing. And if I'm supporting that, I also have to support, Daryl Morey's right to exercise his freedom of speech
Yeah.
and the fact that he supports them. Now, here's where things get interesting. In this country, we love to have freedom of speech, and we love to also talk about how a lot of people like to talk about how they're proud capitalists. This is where these two things can actually conflict and come together. And I find it a real interesting situation that the NBA is in, because it can be really bad if they kind of kowtow to China and be like, okay, we're going to get rid of Daryl Morey, we're going to fire him or whatever, so we can keep our deal with Tencent, the Chinese streaming provider, and CCTV.
Right.
If they do that, it's a bad look. I think there'll be a lot of people here pissed off. Now, how pissed off will they be? Pissed off enough to stop watching the NBA?
Probably not.
Stop.
No.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not
Right.
going to stop
I'm not
I ain't
gonna
gonna
stop
stop
watching
watching the NBA.
But I understand why they'll be pissed off. I think there'll be sponsors here that are pissed off about it too. So it's a very tough position. China seems to be all in on their position, right? Like
Yeah.
they're like, yo, we're going to pull these games, and they're kind of looking at the NBA like, what are you going to do?
Yep.
I don't think the NBA, they can't get herbed here. Like, that comes down to that. They're kind of coming up to the NBA and being like, what are you going to do?
I agree.
Yeah, and I feel like that can't happen, but it's an interesting question, because what are they going to do? Are they going to choose free speech, or is it going to be about the dollars? A lot of times in this country, we've seen that it's been about the dollars.
Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar bills, y'all. Just
That's
saying.
it. Let's quit this now and start a rap group. That's it. We
No.
don't even have
We
to be
definitely
here.
ain't doing that. What do you have to say, Brian?
Yeah. What's your take on this?
He's angry.
I don't really have strong opinions.
Well,
about
he just
this, to
watched
be
South
honest.
Park, so he's really in his
No,
zone.
no, but I'm saying I don't really have strong opinions about
Yeah.
this, because there's a lot that I don't know, and there's a lot of people who are trying to act like they know about these sort of things because they're tweeting about them and getting into discussions about geopolitical international news or whatever it is, and I just think that that's stupid. And if you don't know that much about it, you should probably shut up. I only have an issue with Tillman Fertitta's tweet because of the way it came off. It
We're not a political organization.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you Trump supporter who constantly does.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
That's
Yeah.
like, I hadn't thought
Like,
about it. That was a fair point.
at the end of the day, we're all sort of hypocritical because, you know, I wear Nikes and we know stories about how those Nikes are being made in China and things of that nature, sweatshops and all that stuff. I have Colin Kaepernick on my shirt who has a deal with Nike. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's
Conflict abounds.
Right. But that, where it's a little more in your face, where it's like, oh, we're not a political organization, but I
Right.
could donate money to this dude
right,
of all people
right.
to become president.
And use your platform
That's a
as the
good
Rockets
point.
owner, because whenever he compliments Trumpeting on CNBC, that is what's trumpeted.
I also-
owner of the Houston Rockets.
I also just generally don't like owner of company, CEO of companies saying we're not a political organization so outright, because
Right.
there's a lot of underlying things there that sort of require unpacking that we just don't have the time for because we're actually going to talk about basketball.
Right.
But that sends a message that's actually quite dangerous.
I agree with you.
I do want to. I think Brian's point is fantastic, but I do want to say one other thing. In terms of Brian talked about the people who are out here talking about it on social media, and I've seen a lot of that. And I think Brian's right. There's a lot of people saying a lot,
Right.
but not really knowing a lot.
Yeah.
I have, from a little bit outside, been aware of what's been going on in Hong Kong and been somewhat reasonably read on this. But I'm not going to act like I'm a geopolitical expert.
right.
Yeah.
Where I do have a little bit of a problem from some stuff I've seen is I kind of don't like the media outlets that are also covering the NBA that are shutting people down from speaking or refusing to speak or shutting down their comment sections.
Yeah. The
as
Athletic
some
did
people have
that.
done.
Yeah.
Don't like that at all. Don't think it's good.
Be all in or not.
If you're all in and talk about all your coverage, especially you brought up the Athletic, who's supposed to be on this in-depth stuff, you can't be half in. You got your foot in one way, and it's I know people work at the Athletic, but sorry,
It's dicey.
if you're going to be all the way in depth in your coverage, you got to be all the way in.
At the end of the day, big business is going to act like big business.
So
I think you're probably right about that.
Yeah.
That's
Go
the
ahead,
unfortunate
Jarod.
thing about it.
So obviously, this is a very interesting situation, and I agree with everything you guys have both said. And I want to be clear: I am not a geopolitical expert, but like you, I do pay attention to what goes on in other parts of the world from a political and a business standpoint. I also am intimately familiar with China from the standpoint of I have visited and spent time in Hong Kong. My brother lives in mainland China, though he's here in the States now visiting. In Guangdong province in Guangzhou, right? So I understand a little bit from that perspective. That doesn't mean I'm an expert. I'm just telling you that's my connection to China.
Right.
Two things, right? First, you have this idea of two separate entities, right? You have mainland China, which is an autocrat communist government, right? Then you have Hong Kong, which is a separate province which kind of operates under its own edicts and rules and laws. And where the conflict and the issue is arising is the Chinese government, mainland Chinese government, introduced an extradition bill which would allow them to go into Hong Kong and take out alleged criminals and bring them back into mainland China, right? And the people in Hong Kong are fearing, somewhat similar to what we fear here, police having too much authority and leeway, and you start seeing an erosion of civil liberties, right? I think anyone who is for democracy can be like, we're not down with that. That is not how that works. Okay. Here's how it gets interesting though. The NBA is a business. So the question is, what is their role as a business? Is their role to be a moral compass, a guiding light, a this, a that? Or is their goal to make as much money as possible and be a for-profit company? Or can they be both? The NBA has this interesting sort of flagpole that it likes to fly. It is that it's the woke league, right? And I hate using that word, but whatever. It's progressive, it's all that. And I'm not knocking it. It is very progressive, and Adam Silver is, in my opinion, the best commissioner of all the major sports. But I've said this to you guys before, either off mic, away, and I'll say it again here. Sometimes the NBA gets a little extra credit because they're not the NFL, right? It's like the NFL is so horrible at just about everything. The NBA sometimes gets extra credit because it's like, well, they're not as bad as them. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What is their responsibility? Do they have to be like, hey, man, we don't really care about all this other stuff. We out here trying to make money. But I appreciated Adam's second statement where he literally came back and said, we are not going to get into the business of policing our personnel and telling them what they can and cannot say. Because once you start doing that, well, that's essentially that's what China is. The mainland China is an autocratic government. Controlling what people say is what communist regimes do. Yeah. The NBA doesn't want to go down that road.
I thought his word choice on that was fantastic.
Yeah.
In my opinion, and is what he had to say. Yeah. You asked what should they do?
Yeah, what's their responsibility?
Responsibility. Yeah, I was trying to get the right word there. The responsibility, to me, it's tough for them because they've gone down this road of kind of, like you said, framing themselves as the woke league, and I do agree they probably get some credit because the NFL is so bad. Brian and I have talked tons on our podcast about how the NFL is so bad. The thing about that is when you set a precedence and you have handled a Donald Sterling situation the appropriate way, when you've handled other things around social injustice and empowered your players to speak out against that,
gotta go all the way down.
So, you kind of got to be all the way in right now. Kind of like what I said about the news outlets, right? The NBA's been all the way in on this. Are you going to be all the way in this? Now, if they keep, I will say this, I think if they keep their foot down, it will win a lot of hearts in this country. But will it hurt the pockets? Yes, because China is the fastest growing market for the NBA. They're expected to see about 20%. I might be wrong in these numbers in terms of uptick in revenue in the next couple of years. That is all true, but here's what I also wonder too. Are we maybe also underestimating this could also be a tipping point for the people in China? Yeah. That might be so upset that you're not giving them their games anymore. I don't know. It's interesting how certain things in history, you never know how certain things in history work. And it's like, yo, who'd have thought that sports are not giving
Start a revolution.
Yeah.
Who knows?
You don't know.
Who knows? Look, it's interesting. The Tencent deal that you mentioned, that's a $1.5 billion deal. Look, Asia and India are the fastest growing and most important markets to the NBA because let's just be real about the economics. The game is where it is here in the States, and while there is still some avenues, the avenues for true economic like exponential growth are not here, right? We kind of are where we are here. Yeah. It's overseas in those markets. The NBA has a leg to stand on, and I think Adam is going to put his foot down and really go forward with this because the Chinese fans love themselves some basketball. They love NBA basketball. There is no other league. If they're like, oh, we're not going to cover your games, Adam's like, okay, well, you got no more NBA games. What are they going to watch instead? You think they're going to prefer watching CBA games?
Nope.
I completely agree.
That's just how mad are the people about that. That's what always comes down to anything that shifts in history. How mad are the people about that?
And the statement that you brought up, I just want to say it because it was powerful and it was so well worded from Adam, which I'm not surprised. However, the NBA will not put itself in a position of regulating what players, employees, and team owners say or will not say on these issues. We simply could not operate that way. I think that is our first hint right there that the NBA is going to be all in on this.
Yeah, I think so.
Like you said, have a leg to stand on. So it's going to be interesting the way it plays out. I hope
Look, it's a great move, and we don't want to belabor this point. I think Adam really recognized. Wait a minute, people are saying that we're kowtowing to Chinese government. Which, by the way, let's keep it 100. Every other multinational corporation in America does the same thing. The minute the Chinese government says boo, they're like, all right, go. They back down. Why? Because of the exploding market in China and all the available customers and dollar signs. Look, people get into business for one reason, to make money. I don't want to hear about no altruistic, you don't want to make the world better. You might want that as a tertiary reason. Your primary reason is, I want my pocket swole, right? So if someone gets
Or
helped
you would do
along
it
the
for
way,
nothing.
Right, or you would do it for free. Ain't
Yeah.
nobody doing nothing for free. Come on now.
Truth.
I'll tell you what, if they stick to their guns, I do think it's going to go a long way with fans across the world. They're going to see that, and then
I
I'm
agree with
intrigued to see
you.
how it goes forward.
That's a great
And
point.
then we could be like, NFL, where y'all at?
Okay, boys.
Makes them look worse.
Any last words or tidbits before I actually turn the fun switch on?
Nope.
No, fun
Oh,
switch. Let's go.
I thought the
Woo!
fun switch. Oh, he's banging the table.
Yeah, it's
He's
literally.
wilding. He's
You
wilding.
watch our if you listen to our podcast, you know
I
banging
know.
the table.
Seven
Oh,
quarters,
yeah.
watch out. Brian.
yeah.
Brian's a crazy human being.
Well, when he
No,
walked,
I'm not. No.
Dexter
I
walked
reject
in
that premise.
with 3 cups full of water or whatever, and I
that's
looked.
water?
Oh, it's water.
Whatever it is, I don't care. I can. You're good with whatever.
coulda used some
These
wine
are
today.
after
That's
hours.
okay.
Wait, where is this going?
No, I was just asking, are there lids on the cups? Because you're banging on the table. That's why I was
Well,
checking for
I've-
lids. I listen to
drank
your
eno-
podcast.
I've drank enough to where I don't have to worry about that. So we're almost on the way down.
So don't bang the table.
Okay. All right, boys.
Good. You're not at the. We're
Eastern
all right.
Conference preview.
Let's do
okay?
it.
We're going to go down the line, all the teams, break it down. You guys are going to tell me if they're worthy of a league pass team and if you think they're going to make the playoffs.
And you said don't elaborate on league pass because we ain't got time for that.
Unless all of us
Unless
go one
somebody
way.
comes
Well,
out here with a wild
I had a
opinion.
question and we're listening
Of
to the
course.
last episode with Jonathan Gomez, which was 2 parts, which was fantastic.
Thank
appreciate
you.
the plug, man.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Because I feel like I kind of got the sense from you and Jonathan what was the criteria for a league pass team.
Yeah.
What is your criteria for a league pass team?
I mean, it's so interesting, right? Where there is enough things interesting happening on that squad that I'm like, I gotta watch these dudes.
No,
play
that's
ball.
fine. I just wanted to
Yeah,
know. Like
yeah.
it didn't matter. I just was curious.
yeah.
As what's your criteria for a league pass team?
Probably the same
Probably
thing,
the same thing?
except we're probably gonna have different. Well, we might have a couple
I
different
mean,
teams.
whatever
but,
overlap
that's
for
fine.
sure.
it's but I think it's based on personal preference.
Yeah, and then it's also,
You know what I
let's
mean?
be real. We watch a lot of basketball, but damn, how much freaking basketball can we watch?
Fair enough.
At some point, I'm gonna be like,
yeah.
I gotta turn this game off.
I just was curious.
Like for example, there's probably a team or two that I'm gonna like that you're not as much, and vice versa.
Yeah.
But we're
Yeah,
all
I
gonna
like
be
that.
we're all gonna be on the same page on
Got
Charlotte.
it. They're definitely a league pass team.
We can start now. We can start now. Charlotte, no. we can already cross them off the list right now.
Well, Jenna, you look
Oh,
shocked.
my gosh, boys.
She hates
Who the hell are you? Who the hell are you?
You ain't watching nobody on
Charlotte?
Charlotte. You don't care about nobody on Charlotte.
Okay, I ain't watching
Yeah,
Charlotte.
right, exactly. There's nobody you care about on
Miles
Charlotte.
Bridges, Terry
Yeah,
Rozier, like
none of them. No.
Jenna, stop.
Malik Monk?
Stop.
they have one of the Hernan Gomez's.
Exactly. You don't care about none of them people.
Their colors are cute.
Moving along.
Alrighty. I don't
The
have a lot to
arena
go
is
off
not.
of here, okay?
And Michael Jordan, unfortunately, is a terrible.
Yeah, we'll
CEO,
get to that.
But
Yeah.
Poor MJ.
All right. Anyway,
Okay, let's start. Thank you.
Christ.
Thank
Jesus
you.
Wildin',
Drum
he's
roll.
wildin'.
Give me that little drum roll. Okay, I'm going to start it off here. I'll give you a little tidbit of my own, and
Yep.
then we'll go on. Now, the Atlantic Division, okay? Number 1, the Boston Celtics. Last year, they went 49-33. They were the number 4 seed. I am excited about this Boston team because I finally feel like they're doing something right. The chemistry is there. I feel like the offseason looked great. They looked great, and I love me some offseason videos. You know what I'm saying?
Hashtag workout season.
I love that. I'm ready for the chemistry, and I think Kemba Walker is the perfect piece to solidify the starting 5.
yo, why are you pointing at me?
And I'm going to start with Brian.
Good job.
We
man.
agree on Kemba Walker.
What's the most interesting thing we want to see?
We agree on
Yes.
Kemba Walker.
Oh,
The
yeah.
most interesting thing to me, and I'm gonna keep this short because we have to obviously move.
But say what you need to say.
But with me, it's just the most interesting thing is seeing Kemba Walker fit in Kyrie Irving's position from last year, and really proving my theory that the gap is not all that far away between the two of them.
Ooh,
That's really
that's
it.
bold.
I don't think the gap.
Even like finishing wise too.
No, I'm just saying the overall
Okay.
gap in terms of better player and
I mean,
things like that.
Kyrie's a better shooter by far.
Like it's very
It's
close.
not even close.
No, I'm saying Kyrie and Kemba.
Right, but Kyrie's a better shooter than Kemba, though.
I agree.
Sure. But is
He
how
means
much,
it's not as far as people
how
may
much
think.
better of a basketball player is he? I don't think it's that far away. And I also think there's something to be said for the leadership that he's going to have with Boston.
I agree.
I mean, Kyrie's what, top 12, top 15?
Kemba's in that neighborhood.
Kemba's probably top 20.
20,
Kemba,
25.
Kemba's in that neighborhood.
I'm here.
I know we have
I'm
the
here
I know
for
we
you.
have the illusion Kyrie's better than he is because he won with LeBron, with the
That ain't
Cleveland
that ain't
Cavaliers.
my illusion.
And Kemba Walker's second best player ever has been Jeremy Lamb. I understand that, but I think
We'll
Boston's
see.
going to be just.
I'll
fine.
tell you what, a lot will be said this year. We'll
Exactly.
see.
We'll
I
see.
think Boston's going to be just fine. To this point, I'm not saying Kyrie's not a better basketball player, but I'm saying the gap is closer than people give credit for.
You could argue that. You could argue both sides.
We're talking like like regular basketball. Like if they played each other 1-on-1, is Kyrie smoking him 11-5? No, the fuck he's not.
Ooh.
He's not. He's not. Like he's not.
Shanna, do you feel the heat?
I'm not gonna lie. As soon as he said that, I literally went, "Woo!"
At least he didn't,
he's not.
At least he didn't bang the
Like
tape.
all these dudes are nice at ball, and the gap is not that far from one dude to the next when you're getting on those tiers of top level point guards.
Okay.
I don't know, but anyway,
So-
what do you think,
All
Jeff?
right, Dexter.
And also, he seems to be a better human being. So we'll see how that goes moving
Oh,
forward.
he's hitting your man.
Really, he's
coming at
gone.
your boy.
He's coming at my boy
I-
real
I
hard.
think- I think
but I
this-
love Kemba so much, so I can't argue it.
I like what the Celtics did this offseason. I actually think they will be better a little bit because Kyrie's out of there, and I think Kyrie, not that he wasn't a good player, because I think he's a good player, and I do think he's a better player than Kemba, but his leadership, I think Kemba can lead better than him. And so to that about what Brian's saying, I do think that's going to have an impact.
Yeah.
A lot of places have, the Celtics around 47, 48, 49 wins. I'm actually going to go record. I think they will be better than that. I think they can win somewhere between 54 to 56 games.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to side with you
Yeah.
there in the
I
East
think
because the West is so stacked.
I think everybody. Last year I picked the Celtics to win 65 games. Clearly I was wrong.
And we know how that turned out.
in your defense, we
No,
lot of
everybody
people
did.
did.
Not we. No, I did not.
Oh.
Not
A lot of
we
people
up
did.
here.
Well, I do want to address something.
hop in my grave that quick.
I do want to address something that Jarod has brought up multiple times on our podcast.
Oh, and I'm bringing it up again.
100% right about. This to me is a make or break year for Brad Stevens. For all you people out there who have said Brad Stevens
You're pushing
is
the right
the
buttons.
greatest coach, we didn't see Brad Stevens do this last year. Kyrie got a lot of the blame, and probably rightfully so, but none of that fell on Brad Stevens. This great coach, supposedly the best coach in the league, second coming to Phil Jackson and Popovich put together, and how come he couldn't right the ship with that team? Jarod has asked that question. I think it's a fair question.
I do too.
I think if he gets his team to 55 wins, like I think they have the talent to do if they play well together, especially in the East, fine. But Brad Stevens also has to start winning in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You got to slay some of the Giants. You got to beat Philly. You got to show me something, Brad Stevens. That's all I'm
I
saying.
mean, Jaylen Brown's going to be quicker. His hair is gone, so we're good. Okay.
He's got a little
I mean, I love where you went. The Brad Stevens mystique is the first thing I said, right? Like,
Here we go. Here
look,
we go.
I want to be clear about this again.
I'm a Brad Stevens hater.
I think Brad is an excellent. I think Brad is a very good coach. Like X's and O's, he's good. However, coaching is not just, yo, can I draw up an out of timeout play? Like that's one piece of it.
And looking like the golden boy.
Right.
Because you know he got that look.
Well, because he's part of coaching is managing ego. And listen, that was the first time Brad had to coach someone of that caliber. Okay, cool.
Not a lot of egos in Butler.
Okay, cool. So we'll see. We'll see what you got now because Kemba is Brad's. And listen, it's gonna sound like I'm hating on Kemba, and I'm not.
You know.
All it is.
But
it's-
it does.
But yeah, it does. But I'm not. It's this whole like Kemba's the perfect. Okay, we'll see. You know what Kemba Walker is? A high usage guard. Do you know what Kyrie Irving is? A high usage guard.
That's
Right?
part of why I say that they're not too far apart from one another.
So I'm very curious to see because part of the problem was Tatum and Brown felt like, well, we couldn't do our thing because what do you think? Kemba's gonna be like, hey guys, do you? That's my first thing. My second thing
He might though. To be fair, he might
He
just
might.
because remember he's never had teammates.
And
as
he's
good
a
as
very humble
Tatum
player. He
right.
might.
I mean, there's something to be said for that too.
Okay, they lose 3 out of 4. We'll see.
He's also coming from Charlotte.
We'll see how that goes. And the other thing is, the question is that I have to ask, and I'm curious to see, are we sure Jason Tatum is that All-NBA first team?
Big
that
year
dude?
for him, too.
This is a make or break year for
sure?
him.
I'm not saying he's not. I'm just asking, are we sure? And here's where I'm asking. Because here's what I think happened. in that his rookie season,
Yeah.
they went to Game 7 against the Cavaliers and LeBron. And you guys know this. Whenever you do anything against a certain player or in a certain market, it gets magnified greater than it actually is.
Like when Kyrie won a championship with LeBron.
Pause. So he
Kyrie
dunks.
attack over here.
He dunks on LeBron in Game 7, and everybody's like, "Oh, Jason Tatum!"
Like when Jarod Allen blocked LeBron, and people
everybody-
think that he's a great defensive player.
Everybody
Same
went
thing.
nuts on
You
that.
guys
And
have
listen,
taken it
And
so
I'm not
many
saying that
shots.
wasn't an amazing play, but okay. How do you follow up this past season?
Not great shot selection, a lot of long twos.
Cool.
No improvement.
A lot of turnaround
stagnant.
jumpers with his foot on the line.
A lot of that mama mentality bullshit. So all I
That,
got.
whoop, 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 whoop. That's the first time Jarod cursed on the pod in 3 years.
So
I got it out of him.
So
See that?
So all I gotta say is, you see that's how Brian does. He gets me so fired up. So
That's the Brian effect
all
for
I gotta
sure.
say is, again, I'm not. Jason Tatum is uber talented.
We got to get to the next
Right.
team.
we got.
I just want to
Yeah,
see.
boys. Last thought.
Is he gonna make that? That's all. Is he gonna make that leap? He's gonna be that dude.
Last thing on them. Do you think 20 points a game is enough for you for Tatum?
Yeah, but he's got consistent 20 points a night. Yeah, he
Okay.
does
That's
that.
not gonna
Because I
happen.
think
He has the talent to do it.
I think he'll do that this year.
But I don't want him shooting 42% from the
And
field.
I think Kemba Walker's scoring is actually going to drop because I think he'll average a career high in assists.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how all this plays out.
I think they have a better chance than last year. That's what I will say. Now,
I agree.
back in our order here, league pass team, yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they'll be on
Unanimous?
national TV a good amount. So
Very true.
Yeah,
won
league
the
pass
MVP.
team definitely.
Are
won.
they making the playoffs?
yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Sure.
All agreeing
Yes.
yes?
Yeah, 50 wins or so.
Okay, let's
52.
continue to talk about Kyrie Irving because the Brooklyn Nets, all right, last year they
Nets
went.
Nation.
That's right, baby. They went 42-40 last
don't
year.
care about
The
you.
6th seed. Now, I am very interested to obviously see my favorite player, Brian, Kyrie Irving.
Oh, I like Kyrie too.
in Brooklyn. You
I
don't
just,
even know
There's
like,
a lot of
the gear
nuance.
that I've already purchased.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
And
Oh,
Do
wow.
you have
Fine,
the
that
Brooklyn Kyrie Irving
you
jersey?
don't even understand me. Yes,
Listen,
I do.
I'm actually telling the Brooklyn Nets PR people not to let her in.
Don't listen to that, Brooklyn. That's all right. I'm a Knicks girl now.
Oh, that's right. You are. True.
Anyway, we'll get to that
We'll get to that
later.
later.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, yes. So Brooklyn Nets, obviously, we're excited to see these new pieces put in place and to see the development of Karis LeVert and everybody else and Spencer Dinwiddie, who just propelled the team last year, built the culture, and now we have Kyrie. We'll obviously see Kevin Durant on the sidelines, but I'm curious to see how he's going to act in a more supportive teammate kind of coaching role. All right, guys, shoot. Brian, you're first.
I've been going back and forth on how many wins I think this team is actually going to get. I was at 48 probably earlier in the summer. Now I think I'm down to like 45, 46. Not
Really?
a big difference. But I think I have them right now as a 5th seed in the East, probably like 45, 46 wins. I think with Kyrie, there's probably going to be some struggles there. I'm skeptical as to whether he'll stay healthy the full season, and I'm definitely skeptical as to whether or not Karis LeVert will stay healthy the full season. But I think both of them together, if they're healthy for the full season, then that
DeAndre.
team could be better. Yeah. I mean, DeAndre Jordan, we'll see. Jarod Allen, we'll see. I think he's a potential trade piece. I think Karis LeVert with that contract is a potential trade piece.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that they could be in the market for a team like Bradley Beal.
That'd be nice.
And I would love
Oh,
that.
Lord. Here
Yeah,
we go.
that or
I mean,
Kevin
we'll
Love.
see. We'll see. The chemistry is the big thing. So we'll see.
For me, I'm kind of with Brian. I have them around 45 wins.
Okay.
I wasn't going to go high as 48. I don't think they're that much better than last year's team without
So
KD.
interesting.
I don't think they're that much better. To me, but it's not about that this year. To me, it's about the things you got to take out of watching Nets. Can Kyrie lead? Did he learn anything from last year? Because if he pulls the stuff that he pulled last year,
And in Cleveland.
yeah,
Remember,
technically
he had a bad exit there,
on the
too.
way out. Although I think he was actually smart about
Yeah,
the exit,
correct.
wanting to get out. I've always said that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He didn't want to get left
He
with
saw-
that crap behind.
he
He
saw
knew
the
LeBron
ship-
was out.
The ship was sinking,
like,
and he
"Hell
was like,
yeah."
no.
He
And
could
I-
have handled it better, but I don't disagree with you.
He used the leverage he had. I actually don't have a problem with that. But it's about the Karis LeVert's development. Agreed with you on that.
Needs to stay healthy,
Can you
bro.
get these guys to develop? Can they stay healthy? Can you maybe win a first-round series if you get the right matchup against like an Indiana or something? Possibly. But I don't think it's really about that for Nets. It's about, do the pieces grow? Do you have assets, like Brian said, to trade? Are you going to make that move? But I do think they're an interesting team to watch.
I agree with you. I think it's going to be a growing year, and that's what they should focus on.
Yep.
So we'll
Yeah,
see.
yeah. That would be good. 46, 48 wins. That would be great.
You
for
know-
them.
Don't tell the fan base that. They're-
They're excited.
For
I
me,
mean, I would.
Excited is one way of saying it.
For me, what I'm most interested in seeing is Kenny Atkinson and his coaching staff, their improvement and their versatility. Because to now, Kenny's made his hallmark being a player development guy, right? And we saw some things, improve over time. the last few seasons, but this is a whole different beast for him, right? Coaching his favorite son, Karis LeVert, and his guys, Spencer Dinwiddie, is one thing. Coaching Kyrie is a whole different animal, and KD, when he's back, is a whole different animal. Now, what I like about Kenny is Kenny's not one of these non-confrontational kind of coaches. If Kyrie's talking his shit, Kenny's going to talk his shit right back to him.
Yeah.
And honestly, players like Kyrie, that probably works on him, right? If you're non-confrontational, he's probably like how Brad was. It probably doesn't work out so well. But if Kenny will just be like,
Get in your face, bro.
and Kenny's
Yeah.
hard on his point guards,
Yeah.
right? That's just how he is.
Yeah.
And honestly, that might work for Kyrie. So I'm very curious to see how that goes. The Karis LeVert thing, as we talked about, huge. Listen, before Karis got hurt last year, it was early, but we were talking about he was looking like an all-star. Can he do that for 74, 75 games this year?
Yeah.
If he does, and Kyrie plays 70, 74 games at his level, that team is nice.
And they could have 2 All-Stars if
That team
happens.
was nice.
I'll tell you what, if that happens, then they're closer to a 50-win team.
Yeah,
That kind of is the difference between, I think, where Brian had
Yep.
him earlier and
Yep.
where we kind of both came down to.
And it's
Yeah.
really about those things.
But also, just the East is better than people are giving it credit for, which we're going to
Yeah.
get into moving
Yes,
forward.
I happen
Yeah.
to agree
So,
with
yeah.
that.
The East is just good
I
all
happen
around.
to
Yeah.
actually
So
agree with that.
is Karis going to be able to be that dude and be consistently healthy along with Kyrie? And do we see Jarrett Allen make improvements, not just defensively with his movement, but also offensively? Right, we see him work on it all the time. Pregame shoot around, that pass out shot, 3-point shot in the corner. Yo, man, you got to step out and hit that shot. I need that
Especially
shot
with
to go
DeAndre
in
Jordan
sometimes.
there.
Right.
They have to play together.
So
Like, you have to do it at some point.
So I want to be able to see Katie space the floor.
And side
and
note,
if Dinwiddie has another step to take,
Yeah.
if there's something to that as well.
yeah, and I think he does. And side note, what you said with coaching was interesting too, because when it was media day, I thought it was super candid that Kevin Durant said when he made his choice, he studied Kenny.
Right, his YouTube videos and how Kenny
Yeah,
was.
so
I mean,
if,
Kenny's
if
an
he likes what he saw,
X's and O's guy, and he'll
Yeah.
probably run a lot of high pick and roll, which of course Kevin and Kyrie want to do, right? I mean, but you've got to mix in other wrinkles, right? What other kind of actions are they going to mix in?
Yeah.
That'll be interesting to see.
very true. Okay, league pass team.
Hell no. I have the Yes Network. I have the Yes Network, and I can go to a game whenever. Like,
Okay.
they don't need to
At
be on
first, I
League
thought
Pass.
you weren't like taking it in at all. I was like, we got to talk
it's
about
like-
No,
this.
but in terms of the context for the other people who aren't in this market,
Yes.
they're league
Right.
pass.
Yeah.
But I think-
Okay,
You
yeah.
scared
to
me.
be
You should see
fair,
my
yeah,
face.
No, yes,
So
that's
angry.
great.
I
But
mean-
for me personally,
Gee, how do you-
there's so many ways
like,
to watch them.
Are
like,
you?
come on.
Thank God you're so calm. Like
Yeah,
this
I'm
is
the-
hard.
I'm the complete
we have
opposite.
balance.
This is
It's
really
a balance.
hard.
It's a balance.
I've already had like 3 heart attacks, and we're only on the first half. Banging the table, he's getting Jarod to curse. I haven't seen that in a
crazy.
long time.
I'm gonna be honest with you. This is the tamer side of
Oh,
Brian.
yeah, he's
Oh,
actually
right now.
because he just wiles out. Listen, he's an angry young man. He's
That's
he's
not
very
yo.
angry. He's a
But
very
you see
angry
me
young man.
Smiling though. All right, let's get to the next team.
Okay, yeah.
Like, we ain't got that
Playoffs.
much time.
Yes, playoffs. Yes.
Playoffs.
Playoffs
Okay.
for sure.
Playoffs. Yeah.
The next team that I know you guys are so excited to talk about, the New York Knicks.
yeah.
Last year, they went
Boom
17
squad.
for 65. 17 for 65. Let that sink in.
17 to 6.
And they were the last seed. Yeah.
They
weren't even there.
Where were they? Were they last in the old conference?
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
worst
yeah,
record,
yeah.
worst record in the conference.
Yes, they were.
Dexter
I
will
am
know.
interested to see, obviously, the
Can we
debut
please start with Dexter?
of RJ Barrett. That's all I'm going to say. RJ Barrett.
Cool.
They're basing this team around him. The young core, Kevin Knox, Marcus Morris. I think he should really maybe take some anger management before.
I
But that's
disagree.
going to be okay.
Marcus Morris or Brian?
I think Marcus Morris is fine.
I think the both of you
both of
guys
them.
should go together. You would say that.
Dex,
I
resident Knicks
like
fan?
it. Like, yeah, let's hear it.
Lifelong, long-suffering Knicks fan.
Aw, it's
What am I
okay.
excited to see? Not much when you're a Knicks fan. There's not much to be excited to see.
I actually like
No,
this
but
roster,
here, but
man.
in all,
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you why he likes this
No,
roster.
come on.
Because he thinks they will scrap and fight.
Yeah, but yeah.
I like the toughness. The ball, don't bounce it off anyone's head, Marcus.
Yeah, he likes.
I mean,
to-
he didn't like the Justin Anderson swiped at him, and it's preseason, so he's like, you know what? Look, it's the same
I
thing.
see what you're
But it's the
saying.
same thing as Jimmy Butler showing up to training camp the first day at 3:30 a.m. You have to set
Dedication.
the tone and send a message early. All
Set the
right,
tone.
Marcus Morris said that he doesn't want people to just walk over the Knicks
respect it.
and they're going to restore
I
that
respect
toughness.
it.
I respect his
I'm-
reasoning.
like,
Listen, I love me
get
some
it.
'90s Knicks. I love.
You
the
don't want to
toughness.
see that during the regular season.
No.
I'm with you that I don't
I-
think what he did was the smartest thing in the world.
Right,
But
that's
in
what Jenna
terms of
was saying.
setting the tone, like these little things actually might matter
I,
later on.
I don't disagree.
You make a good point.
What I'm excited to see with this team.
Trust
is,
me, I recognize that.
Can they make the jump that I think they can make? And when I say jump, I'm going to keep it real. Let's just answer another question before we get to it. I do not necessarily think they're going to make the playoffs, but I think they can make a 10-win jump. can the young players on this roster improve? Can I see something, as you said, from R.J. Barrett? Is there anything for me to see out of Kevin Knox? Is Frank Ntilikina, going to be utterly useless, or I don't know what he's going to be?
Yeah.
It's about the development of the young players. Now, watch their first preseason game. Like some things I saw, especially out of R.J. Barrett, that I know had Brian excited.
Because he lacked a little bit in summer league.
Yeah, but what I liked from him was his ability to finish, especially in the transition. I thought that was extremely impressive. I think that's where he can get his points all year. Watching his game more, I feel like he needs to go watch film on Paul George. That's a player he should try to model his game after.
I love that.
R.J. Barrett has some things I think that can be good with him. How he develops, if they can get another young guy develop, Mitchell Robinson too, maybe improving his offensive game. For me, watching the Knicks is about development. I'm going to have a close eye on them because I'm a fan, but that's kind of what I'll be watching for. I think they're an interesting team to watch.
I do too.
I think they can be a lot like the Nets 2 years ago.
Yeah.
They're going to fight hard.
The build.
You're not going to want to play them. They're going to play tough.
Exactly.
Brian's got goons on his
They're
team.
gonna compete.
That might punch people in the face.
No, but
Bobby
that,
Portis
but that's
and
what I'm
Williams.
saying is that they're
I
gonna.
always wonder why you liked wrestling and
mentality.
WWE. And
I mean, really?
I always wondered that.
I mean, now put it all together. Listen,
likes
wrestling, MMA. Listen,
No,
his
but here's
favorite
the
players
thing.
in the league are Bobby Portis, Patrick
No, but
Beverly,
here's the thing.
Marcus Morris,
Here's the
Marcus
thing.
Smart,
Just
Jay
say
Butler.
violence.
What are all 5 of those guys prone to do if they catch you on the
You
wrong
don't
day?
want to
Punch
mess
you in
with
the
them
face.
dudes, yo.
Right? Like,
That's it. But here's the thing. Like in all seriousness,
I like
you
violence.
need some of those dudes on your team. Like you
Yeah.
do.
No.
You
Yeah.
need some of those
You don't
dudes.
need a
Set
whole
the
team
tone.
of goons,
The
though.
Knicks have well, here's the difference. They're not trying to win the NBA championship this year. They're just rebuilding and trying to get some guys and potentially make some trades down the line,
Yeah.
which we could talk about a
Yeah.
little bit.
So
also.
that's also that's what I like about this team, right? And that's what I want to see. The development. Do the Knicks have a plan, right?
I think they do now.
What is your player development program going to look like? I want to see what RJ looks like by the end of the season. I want to see what Kevin Knox looks like in year 2. Can you salvage Frank Ntilikina? What's up with Mitchell Robinson, right? Those are things I'm looking
Dennis
at.
Smith Jr. added to that.
Right.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and as you said, they have a bunch of stretch fours, right? Like Morris,
I think that's a little overstated, though.
Bobby Portis.
I think that's a little overstated.
Okay, but you know,
Because I think Morris could play the 3. I think you could play
but
3 of those
point
guys
being,
together.
you don't need all of them. Is what I'm saying.
No,
So
agreed.
and they're all on either 1 or 2 year deals. So can I move them to a contender and get something back of value to build up my stores? Because look, Knicks keep banking on getting this number 1 pick. Hasn't happened.
Nah, man.
All right?
And we
So-
spoke about that, though.
Marcus
how,
Morris and Bobby Portis are going to have good value.
And if you can get their value up early and
Yeah.
trade them
Oh,
early,
yeah.
like well before, if they can trade some of these guys in January, I would be
But
all
hold on.
over that.
Here's the thing. What if they enter January close to 500 or at 500? It's early in the
Then,
season.
then they're going to wait a little bit.
Wait a little longer.
But that's
They're
what I'm
gonna wait a
saying.
little
Is
longer.
like maybe they over. I think for the record, 32 wins. That's where I'm
That's
gonna.
higher
That's
than
where I'm
I
at
have.
with
Woo!
them. That's where I'm at with them.
I
At 32.
That's a 15-win jump.
Well,
28.
well,
Now
I'm
we-
expecting. Well, remember, I'm high on RJ Barrett. I actually think he's going to be one of the best rookies from this draft class, and I think the rookie of the year is going to be John Morant. But I think RJ is going to be very close to that. And as is
15
Zion.
wins, I'd be thrilled.
That's wow.
But I think the roster, with Dennis Smith Jr., I'm also expecting him to take a jump.
He's got to make a big jump.
he got in shape this offseason.
Everybody gets a shot this offseason.
He needs to make a jumper like consistently, and then that'll be what's that. Make a jumper consistently and just be a consistent playmaker. But I see 32 wins. It's more optimistic.
How many wins do you see for them?
24.
Wow.
That's
really-
high.
That's the
yeah.
lowest I've heard.
I thought you were gonna go low.
I'm
Lower.
28. I'm at 28.
I mean, but 24 wins is 7 more wins than they had last year.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I mean,
I think they're better than that.
I mean,
I mean, that's basically saying
roster- I
that
don't
RJ Barrett and I mean that's a lot to put on these young guys.
Hey,
Because again,
but I think they're better than Cleveland and Charlotte and
Charlotte might win 6 games. this
Atlanta's
year.
probably going to be in
6.
that 32 win territory. Also,
What's the all-time worst record in the NBA history?
9 and
Charlotte's going to compete.
Charlotte
for that.
had that 9 and 57.
Bobcats had it.
Charlotte's going to compete for breaking their own record.
All right, what's
okay,
next?
league pass team.
No, but I'll watch some games.
I mean, I got MSG, but
Oh
sure.
yes,
Yeah, but in terms of the national context,
no, but I'll watch some
I'm-
games.
no.
yeah.
No,
guess.
the Knicks. Here's the thing: they will start the season as a no for me,
Right.
even though I'm a fan. But I could see if it happens the way Brian thinks things are going to happen.
Shit,
and
if they 500 at Christmas,
RJ starts showing out,
They're going to be a tough out for good teams.
What they need
and
is
they're going to win a few games they shouldn't win.
They need to play hard and need a player that's dynamic enough that's starting to get a little buzz around them.
Like you
the way
said,
Karras was a couple
if they
years ago.
play
Randle, maybe?
if they play hard and compete every game like the Nets did,
Then
I will
people start
enjoy
watching.
watching them,
Yeah,
and I always will too because I love me some Knicks.
And Fizdale's a good coach. There's something to be said for that.
Yes.
too.
I'm very curious.
Yes.
how
That's
it
another
goes.
reason why I think they'll get to 32.
Yeah.
It's
Playoffs?
He'll get it out.
No.
Okay, let's move on to the team that I personally think can make a finals run.
This is one of my most.
I just looked at the
intriguing
list.
teams in the
I'm
league.
sorry. Philadelphia 76ers last year they went 51 and 31. They were the 3rd seed. I think they've only gotten better. I am excited to see this massive, huge, tall, big lineup of
so
men.
big. They're so
I mean,
big.
your
Although
point
Tobias
guard
Harris
is,
ain't that tall anymore.
your point guard
apparently.
and Ben Simmons is 6'10",
what's
and if
official
he has a
height?
6'7".
jumper, done.
Well,
done.
Well, Jenna, that's the key, right?
Joel Embiid
That's the
is more
key.
in shape.
It's not. But here's the thing: it's not about if Ben Simmons has a jumper.
Will
We
he
don't
shoot?
know if he's going to shoot.
Right.
He
He's
doesn't
gonna shoot the ball,
Is he?
guys.
Wow,
I'm a
because
Ben.
of
I'm a
summer
Ben.
videos.
I'm a Ben Simmons
No,
skeptic
he's
in terms
gonna
of his
shoot
jumper.
it. He's
I'm a
gonna
Ben
shoot
Simmons
the
skeptic.
ball.
You also a Ben Simmons skeptic in a lot of other ways as well. Let's
Guys,
keep it
Just
100.
basketball related. Just basketball
Guys,
related.
may
lost
I
on
add, they are currently at this moment playing. I have a friend at the game, and Simmons finished the half with a 3 at the buzzer. That's all I'm gonna say.
Does that
I'm
count,
gonna have to
though?
go look for that.
No,
That's
but
all I'm gonna
I don't
say.
think that counts. I need to see the 3. Did he just chuck it up, which he probably did because it was at the buzzer?
Yeah,
I
I wanna
don't
know
have
what-
the details.
Like, what kind of a 3 was it?
we
you
will-
know?
We'll pull it up.
Don't
on
come
break.
at me for this.
Well,
I will say this: they might have 4 dudes who can make the all defense team, and that's why I think
So-
they'll get to the finals.
So hold on. That's why they're interesting because they have, as Jenna, you brilliantly brought up.
Thank you,
The length
brilliant.
and the
Thank
size. I'm here to
Thank you,
elevate.
honey.
You're welcome.
You're the best.
The
Lord, here we
length,
go.
the size that they have, right?
Yes.
Makes them interesting.
Yeah.
They're the tallest starting 5. I think what in
Yeah, in the league. Yeah,
in the league.
Yeah, by far.
My concern with them is shooting. Losing J.J. Redick. Can James Johnson come in and
Josh
be
Richardson.
Josh Richardson? Sorry, not just James Johnson. Josh
No,
Richardson.
that's my guy.
Josh Richardson. Yes.
Another one of
Can
Brian's all-stars.
Can Josh Richardson come in and provide that shooting we need? They're going to be very good defensively, and I think I will like watching them because they'll feel like a 90s-ish team with that ruggedness in defense.
Yep.
But really the key is Ben Simmons, as I said from the top. If he is not willing to shoot, the guy who's your primary ball handler, when it comes to the playoffs, they're just going to put centers on him as we saw last year, and Brett Brown tried to hide and put him in the dunker spot.
Didn't work.
That does not work in the playoffs. He's got to be ready to shoot, Jenna. He's got to be willing to shoot, guys.
Yes.
And if he has to take the shots.
He will.
It don't matter if he makes them. You have to just shoot the
Until
damn thing.
Jenna,
That's
I'm gonna
correct.
say it like this: until I see him do it, I'm not believing it.
And-
Until I see him do it, I'm not believing it. But if they're going to be successful, they have all the tools to get there. I'm a little concerned about their depth. I still think they need to add on to
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
They
A
can
little
do that with
top-heavy.
pickups.
Yep.
Melo's out there.
Interesting. However, you want to see Melo come back. However, they've got to do it. They've got to become a more fluid offense team. I got to see the balance. If I don't see the balance here, they have all the tools to get to the finals.
I agree. You
It's
want to
about
see the
balance.
proof.
They also
Yeah.
have my MVP of the season.
Who?
I have Joel Embiid winning it this year.
You know, it's interesting you say that.
Yeah.
I'd like to
He
see
said
it
he's ready to take 3s
JoJo-
this season too. Also, guys.
and
He
make
was
them.
doing that last year, too.
JoJo, AD, prime LeBron, pre KD before the injury, Giannis. I'm counting the guys who have the tools to win an MVP and Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
There ain't that. You mean I kind of 5 dudes because it's hard to do both.
Yeah.
Joel,
Maybe Dwight Howard too when he was with the Magic.
maybe,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That is
he was that good
because he
at
was
one
that good.
point, yeah.
Those like to be able to win MVP and defense, you know how special you got to be at ball.
Dog.
That's how good Joel Embiid can be.
Yeah.
And if he
Can be.
and if he is that, and he said, "I got to take my body more seriously." He said all the right things. Okay, dude.
He says he
He
lost
even
20
said he might
pounds.
stop
Yeah,
trash talking too. The focus
Nah,
is there.
He ain't doing that. He ain't doing that.
Nope.
But I want to see that though, right? I want to see that part about him and the body and like how seriously he takes it. Obviously, we talk about Ben Simmons, of course, that makes sense. This team defensively, my God, with Al Horford, like what they
Them
can
and the
do,
Clippers?
what they can. Oh my God, Imagine that finals. You might get a throwback like 98. Like,
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt this, but I just got an
Lord.
NBA notification. Ben Simmons shows off new range. Yep.
Oh.
Watch the arena erupt as Sixers Ben Simmons hits a 3-pointer to beat the first half buzzer.
We're gonna have to-
I'm gonna leave that.
We're gonna have to watch it. We're gonna have to watch it in our break.
Sorry.
Of course, the arena erupted.
But
They haven't
but
seen
to
that
what you
before.
but to what you guys, I agree. I'm worried about their shooting, and they're top heavy. Right. Those are the two things that concern me.
I'm not
right now.
as worried about their shooting because their defense is going to be so good.
Yeah.
Also, Joel Embiid, last note on him, he averaged 27.5 points and 13.5 rebounds last year.
You gotta be kidding
He was
me.
second team All NBA.
I think if he just does that again, he'll win MVP because this will probably be 1 or 2 in the East.
But I want him to be first team All NBA. He was
My
second team
concern,
All-NBA.
my
Agreed,
concern
yeah.
is who's also getting you a bucket when you need it late.
That-
Are you gonna have to go
well,
to-
if Ben,
Because Jimmy
but this
Butler
is
was
why
taking
Ben-
those shots for them last year.
yes,
My
that's
boy
why Ben
Jimmy
Simmons has
Butler.
to shoot.
Yeah.
This is why exactly. Exactly.
Yes,
This is why
Ben's gotta shoot.
That's all the point
And
I'm
again,
making.
he doesn't. It's not about making it. It's about taking it.
Taking
Because
it.
Be
as
a
you
threat.
said, come the playoffs, and listen, we'll get to Milwaukee later. This is what the teams did to Milwaukee. Toronto was like, "Oh, Giannis, you can't shoot. We'll leave you on top of the key. No problems."
They're gonna do the same with him.
In the playoffs, whatever your weakness is gets exposed.
Yeah.
And listen,
Absolutely.
teams don't win unless they have complete guys. That's come on.
Agreed.
That's just how it works.
Agreed.
Okay, last but not least, in the Atlantic Division, the Toronto
Wait, we didn't
Raptors.
say if they're a league pass
Oh,
team.
I'm
I mean,
sorry.
come on.
I
Yeah,
mean,
of course.
yes.
Yeah,
League
yeah.
pass
And-
for sure.
yeah,
And
yeah.
playoffs,
Playoffs, yes.
Yeah.
Could be the
Okay.
number one seed.
The Raptors,
Yep.
we'll see.
Lastly, in the Atlantic Division,
Mm-hmm.
the Toronto Raptors coming fresh off a championship. Their first game will obviously be the ring ceremony, so that'll be nice. Last year, 58-24, and they won the division number 2 seed. Okay, I'm excited to see how this Kawhi-less team navigates without him, because let's be serious. We talked about this before. Kyle Lowry, while he is a leader on the floor, he is not the guy that you want facilitating your offense. 100%.
Well, facilitating, yeah, being the main,
But
being
the main guy, he
to
always
score, no.
needs
Yeah,
to
we
be
don't-
part
yeah,
of a
we don't-
duo.
yeah, we don't need that.
Yeah, is my opinion.
Is Pascal Siakam though?
We don't know that yet.
He wants his bag, so
I will tell you this. I watched a little bit of that Raptors Rockets game preseason over in China. It
was a close one.
Shout out to you.
Pascal. Listen, he's looking. I mean, he looked great last year. He looks even better.
Oh, he looked
this
great
year.
last year without Kyrie, which we talked about. I mean, with
Well,
Kawhi,
he on the
like
mind.
we talked about. on this podcast.
The three.
They're almost the same name.
The three ball looks good. I mean, he's attacking off the dribble, both hands. I mean, he's looking nice. It seems like he didn't do that whole "I'm a champion, I'm gonna just rest on my laurels"
Yeah.
or something. It seems like he went
He
into the
better
lab.
not. He the man now.
and was working. So
the thing that makes me nervous though is that it's evident from what we saw last year. The Golden State Warriors were dropping like flies, and they still needed Kawhi to put in 150% every night. So
Yeah.
that's their
that's
problem.
also
They don't
because the
have
Golden State
that
Warriors
caliber of a
are-
player.
I think Toronto's missing the playoffs.
Wow.
Barely.
Missing.
Barely.
Interesting.
Well,
Barely.
but see the problem with
Well,
that. The problem.
The East is good.
No, but here's
man.
but
East
here's
is
but
good, but-
here's the thing about that. When I'm not saying that you're wrong. When you're saying that, it's what do you believe Toronto is going to do and how's their
About
roster going
500.
to look? No. how's their roster going to look?
Right.
Oh.
Because they gave Lowry the 1 year
year,
extension,
right.
which
But
shocked
they
me.
still might trade him though.
Yeah, which
Right.
because maybe they're like maybe more teams will take him with 2 years on his deal. I think that's kind of what they thought about that. So
Exactly.
the
There's a
question
team
I'm
in
at-
South Beach
the
that could use him.
The question for you is, and maybe that's why the deal was done. Do you think Lowry and Gasol are going to be on the roster
Or Ibaka, 'cause
past
they're all
Ibaka,
expiring, yeah.
right?
I think look, the way Masai Ujiri operates, I think he'll probably sell off some guys.
It'll
and
be dependent on where they are.
and keep building around Siakam in the future. I still think he's going to get his max
he-
contract and everything. But because of the other 8 teams I have in the playoffs, which if I tell you that, it'll make more sense as to why I have them barely out, probably like 40-42 or so.
I think Masai's one of the better GMs in the league. He's got a couple different plans, right? Look, if this team is playing well come Christmas, I don't know if he's going to be selling off the assets. He might be
Right.
like, you know what? Let's make another playoff run and try to run it back with these guys. Because the question is, does OG Anunoby, because he had health issues last year and he had a personal issue as well,
That's your boy.
does he come back and make that jump? Because OG was the dude.
Yeah, he could
right?
defend.
You got OG and Pascal,
Good
right?
point. Nobody's
Hey,
bringing up-
Van Vliet. Like, listen, do you do stuff with those guys, right? And then is he like, we could do a
And they
decent
showed out
playoff
when
run.
it counted.
So my point is, time will tell. Now, if they're middling around 500, then okay, there's writings on the wall. He's going to sell off, try to get assets back, and again, build around OG and build around Pascal. But Pascal, I think I'm very curious to see, does he make the next step up? Okay, is he going to be an all-star this year? Does he get? I mean, forward is loaded, but does he get all NBA consideration?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, League Pass team.
Yeah,
Yes.
for me.
Right?
Not a team I'm running to, but yeah, I'll check them out on League Pass.
I say no. It's not a League Pass team. Without Kawhi,
Kawhi, it
kind
makes
of
sense.
like.
But I'm
We
curious.
have
I'm
to-
curious
I wanna
about.
see what they look like.
I want to see Siakam's development.
Yeah.
And I, I like Rondé Hollis Jefferson.
We have to
that's right, they
remember,
got Rondé.
I forgot
not
he
a
was
lot
there.
of people were like hype on Toronto before Kawhi. So I
Before
see why you
they're
would
in
say
Canada.
that.
Okay,
Yeah.
before Kawhi. I was
No,
saying
I'm not even trying to be. It's because they're in Canada.
when
and
Kawhi
like,
got
you know,
when Kawhi
people-
got there.
When
I was
Kawhi got there,
very
yes,
high.
but now
I
that he's
watched him a
gone,
ton.
it's
Yeah.
back to the basics.
All right,
I
done
agree.
with the Atlanta.
Yes. Okay. And
This division
playoffs
sucks.
though. Playoffs.
I'm going to say.
Miss.
He's already like ready to move on.
This division sucks. I'm looking at it right now.
I want to say
boy.
they make it. I'm going to say they make it. I'm going to say Toronto makes the playoffs.
I'm saying Toronto in the playoffs too because I think
Yeah.
they're going to hold on.
I'm going to
to
say
that
early
last
on anyway. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Let's take a break here.
Yep.
Part 1 is officially wrapped, guys, and
Okay.
he didn't knock over the table or flip it. Like
I
Trey
will
said.
in part 2.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Great.
I'll just stand over there.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Same. We'll check you guys out in part 2. Don't go anywhere.